Hey, okay, so there's I wanted to do some like live puzzle designing because it seems like there's a lot of people that are interested in puzzle design or puzzle game design and they don't really know how to start on doing that. And to me, it's really an easy thing, so I thought maybe the best thing to do would just be like show kind of what that looks like. Um, So I had, well, actually, okay. There's like two unfortunate things I'll say. Uh, the first is that the idea that I'm going to work on, I already did some design on, because that's just kind of how, like you wake up in the middle of the night with this idea and you have to do some stuff. And then the other one I'll get to in a little bit. So, first thing I'm going to do is just kind of take something to show you basically what the idea is, and then it may or may not in that situation become very apparent what the other problem is. It's not, it's not a deal breaker. I don't know, but okay. So basically, the idea I had was that you would have some kind of series of like a grid or something of squares, and you would be able to pick one to light up, and then the adjacent ones would also change. So, say I picked that one, then you'd end up with that. Okay, and so then the idea would be that you'd have some kind of pattern, and then you're trying to make them all lit up. So say we had like this pattern, and I'm trying to make them all lit up, so it's like, okay, well, I take this first one, and then if I were to switch that one on, then this one would go off, right? Because it's going to switch whatever is adjacent to it. So I'm trying to get them all on. If I turn this one on, then that's going to go on, and that's going to go on, but this is going to go off. So the idea, is to try to go from some kind of pattern to where they're all on. Now, that may or may not be very apparent, because to me, obviously, it seemed like a simple idea. And naturally, it was like, okay, well, we'll do something where maybe we extend it into another dimension, and then we'll see how that goes. So then if you swapped this one, then these would swap across the axes, right? And it seemed like, well, this is a really simple idea. It's probably been done before. And of course, it has been done before by a game called Lights Out, which is actually not... It's like a Tiger Electronics game, which is basically the exact same thing, except you're trying to turn all the lights off. So, as it says here, selecting a square changes it and the surrounding squares, which is exactly the same as what I was doing. So, that's in some ways unfortunate. I guess you could say, well, I guess I should just stop. But there is one thing about this game, which is that it is strictly a 5x5 grid, which already of the stuff that I had tried out, well, we'll do some puzzles on. Well, I didn't do it on paper, I did it on my phone, but, we'll see how that feels. I didn't do anything as big as 5x5 because I thought at that point it became too fiddly and not really that enjoyable. So, in some ways, even though the idea that I came up with was already done, I have a different approach to it. Plus, I have some ideas about maybe how it could be extended, rather than just making bigger and bigger grids, which I think is kind of a not that interesting way to extend it. So, yes. I don't know whether or not I should just like go straight through on all this or take a break for questions whenever I feel like it, but I think I'll look at the chat and see. A 3D Lights Out. No, well, I could, sure, but that was not exactly the idea that I had. I'm sure you could extend Lights Out along many different dimensions. So, the thing that I need to do, of course, is I need to implement this, which I'm thinking There's one way of extending it that I was thinking of that may not work if I do the prototyping in PuzzleScript, but the other one definitely will, so that should be interesting to see where that goes. So what do we need here? I don't even know what to call it. We'll call it lame lights out. So that's fine. And then I need a background, which is just going to be, in this case, well, yeah, it can just be black. And I need a light on, which is just going to be white. I don't know whether I'm not super skilled with PuzzleScript, so I don't know what all it lets you do, like if I need to actually specify a square, or if it by default will make a square. Okay, so I don't need that many things. I do need a player of some kind, because that's just how PuzzleScript works, and really that's just going to be a cursor. So probably white and black is fine for that. And so we'll do like this or something. I'm just making a little icon for it. I think I deleted all my things, so I don't know exactly how wide it is. I think it's supposed to be 5 wide. Or something like that. So I'm just making graphics with text. That is not what I wanted. I wanted this and then this. I'm already screwing it up. Look at that. So you might not like PuzzleScript or whatever, but I think it's an interesting tool for prototyping simple ideas, especially grid-based ones like this. Currently, my idea of how I would use this puzzle type is not really strictly as a puzzle game. More than that, I don't think I want to say right now. But let's see. Then I need a legend here. We'll go background and light on. Oh, I forgot to make the light off. Look at that. Do I even need a light off? Yeah, I do. Okay. If I don't have the light off, then I don't know if there's a way to pattern match in this with nothing. So I'm just going to do it this way because it's easier. Plus, some of the later stuff is going to require probably a total rejiggering of all of this. Oops. On this laptop, they put the power button right next to the backspace button, which is just great. I'm going to get rid of the sound because it doesn't need any sound. That's fine. Collision layers, I don't really need a collision at all, so that's fine. Wind conditions, I think I can do no lights or no light off. I think that's a wind condition. So then we'll go down here and we will erase all of these pretty much. I might as well keep one just so I know what I'm doing down here. Yeah, I think I have to have something. I don't know, actually. Let's save. I think... yeah. Yeah, I need something, so we'll just make a level that's like just a line. That's fine. So that should work. Oh, blue player referred to in rule. Oh, the rules. Okay. Yeah. I don't even need necessarily any rules yet to start with, so we'll save that. Okay, so here's our level. Doesn't look like anything much. Maybe I should make the background not black. Maybe I should make it like dark gray. And see, just so I can, there we go, just so I can see that there's actually something there. So it has a little level editor here. They've not been assigned to a layer, so they have to be on a layer. Okay, whatever. Whatever, it don't matter. They're not going to be moving around, so. Level editor again. Okay, so that's all good. So I don't remember how to do this, so I'm going to look it up because I need to be able to take a input button. Oop, I just spit all over the screen. Because currently I can put down what on earth? There's no player here. There is no player here. That is because I did not actually do this. I need like a player start or something. Come on, level editor. What on earth? There we go. Sometimes it's a little weird, so I have to have somewhere where your cursor starts. That's a really bulky cursor. But I wanted to have a cursor that would show up on both, so it would show up on both white and black, because if I had, you know, say a black square here, well, actually that's going to overwrite because of the way it works. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to have to look up a couple of things. Where are the rest of the rules? Here we go. Need an action button for one thing. So it's, alright, that's easy. So, if you haven't used PuzzleScript, the way it works is you do pattern matching. So you have like a pattern on the left and then it produces something on the right. So in this case, it's like if the player is next to a sheep and presses the action button, then the sheep moves out of the way. And then the next one is when a sheep moves into a sheep, then the sheep turns into blood and the other sheep moves out of the way, which is why he's killing all the sheep. Yeah, so action player, nah, not next to, but I want it on, so that would be on a light on, right? Well, actually, I don't even know. Yeah, on a light on, I want it to go to a light off, but I'm trying to think of how. Well, we'll see how that does. We'll see how that does. If I press the... Oh, that's not at all what I wanted to do. Yeah, you get to watch me fiddling around with stuff. So that should, if I... Oh, yeah. The other weird thing, you could say it's annoying, but it is what it is, about PuzzleScript is it doesn't actually save your levels really. You have to, like, save them, and then they go down here into the console, and then you have to, like, copy and paste them over, which can be error-prone, but it is what it is. So let's see if I turn off the level editor here. Oh, great. Thanks for playing. So something... Yeah, there's no lights off, so no wonder. Okay. No light off. I need some lights off, which are zeros. That's fine. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky getting stuff up and running, so then that's the thing there. And so this should... Yeah, okay, it did. It also killed my player, which is not what I wanted. Because I forgot to put player on the right hand side, so I got rid of the player. So this is just like the basic thing that we want, right? Which is if we press the action button, then we want to swap what's underneath us. And everybody will let me know if the stream drops out, right? Pitch it to John, yeah, okay. No, I don't think, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, PuzzleScript is kind of, you know, I mean, it's not a code kind of language, really. It's very specific to what it does, and that's it. So this should, yeah, okay, so that swaps them. So that's what I want there. And I got to figure out how you can do, is there some way you can do the player on top something? Like if you want to layer up multiple things on top of something, I don't remember how you do it. Don't remember how you do that. It might have been in here. I don't think so, though. I think this is just rules. This is just rules. Okay, I don't remember. First thing I'm going to do, though, is there's a late thing, which will take, so we'll go and say if there's, well, shoot. Yeah, if there's a player light off, which will be this one that we're on, and it's adjacent to a light that is on, I don't know whether this is going to work. I'm trying to think. I don't know. It's probably not going to work, I don't think. Because then we would want to turn that into a player light off. I might have been able to do this in one thing. But I think it's going to break, because I think what is going to happen if I do this, it's going to work one way and not the other way, of course, but to get the other way to work, I don't know. Okay. Well, excuse me. Is it not working properly? Oh. Okay. So that didn't even work the way I thought it did. So let's do this. Let's go, if I go light on. Oh, this is... Sometimes the PuzzleScript can be a little irritating when you want to do something. It would be very simple otherwise, because you would have more of a control flow kind of thing, whereas this is not so much of a control flow. I thought late worked that way, but apparently late does not work that way. Apparently late is at the end of the turn. Yeah, okay. So, let's try instead doing this, where we do one that says if I'm next to a light on, then we will turn that light off as well, and then we'll do another one that is that, and it probably will not work, but I don't know. So then if I'm on a, because that's the thing I'm concerned about, is that this is going to go through, apply this, and it's going to say, oh, well, you press the action button this frame and do this. I don't know. We'll see. And then we'll do it the other way, where if it was next to a off light, then we'll turn that on. And then we'll do the other one. which is the same thing, just a different one that we were on, and turn it off, and it should be not, probably won't work, but I don't know. Yeah. Wait a second. Oh, okay. This is wrong. I was going to say, I was like, I thought these were for that. So we'll see how this does. And then turn this on too. Probably will totally break and be weird. Well, it seems like it works. I thought it wouldn't work, but it seems like it does. Well, it's not turning the one to the right on, which is odd. Why is that? Okay. Nope, this is not working. Have you ever done anything in JavaScript or Flash? I've done some Flash, never JavaScript, but most of the time I do not do stuff in PuzzleScript, but I thought this might work, and so it might be fun to try out. Of course, I've only done one PuzzleScript game and one prototype that didn't really go anywhere, so I'm not super like deep into the understanding of how PuzzleScript works, so it's kind of a lot of me trying to figure out what the heck this does. I would think it's always frustrating, that kind of thing where it's not entirely clear. So if you search for a moving player, it will detect someone doing an action. Well, okay. I would think, alright, let's try doing the stuff that's adjacent first, which would be like action player adjacent to a light that's off, and then we want to turn that into a light, or into a player and a light that is on. So that should work for that. Oops. My inclination to hit Control S, but no, it's web, so of course that doesn't work. So that should do, if I'm on a light that's off, or if I'm adjacent to a light that's off, it should turn it on. Well, it didn't, but for some reason it only did one at a time. That's odd. That is very odd. So why did it do one at a time? That is strange. I will say that I thought that the basic rules would be a lot easier than they have been thus far, because I guess I wasn't that familiar with PuzzleScript. you would think I'm gonna open a window. It is very hot out here. And boiling yourself to death is not a good way to, like, think well. So, trying to think of how I would do that. Because I thought that would apply in all directions, but for some reason it doesn't seem to. It seems to apply in one direction. Like the band, let's see if I just did it again. This is the most hackiest weird thing, but let's see what it does. It still didn't even do it twice. Okay, yeah, This is working as well as I hoped. Okay, so it seems odd to me because everything it says here says, you know, the rule gets applied in the turn as often as it can be before it moves on to the next one. However, that does not seem to be happening. Does it? Not to me. Like, it should have applied it there, right? Because that was off. But instead, it waits for me to press the button again. Or is it because I have the action button? So maybe that's it. Maybe it can't apply it again because I didn't press the action button again. And so that's how it is. So then what the heck do I do? Because certainly I'm feeling like I'm going to need like a temporary object to even do this properly. Like if I do this, then it would probably automatically apply properly. Yeah. Getting attacked by wasps, apparently. Do I like more than Flash? I don't like Flash. Just because I used Flash doesn't mean that I like Flash. I don't like it at all. I think Flash is really a pain in the neck. and it's slow. And saying something's a pain in the neck is probably saying a lot, because this is kind of being a pain in the neck right now, and I wouldn't necessarily say I don't like PuzzleScript. It's okay. I mean, it is what it is, you know. PuzzleScript doesn't try to do anything more than be a simple way to do certain types of games, and when you start having weird ideas, then it starts getting hard to do. What I'm going to do is load up this level, and I'm going to make it larger. Actually, I'm going to change the light off to gray so that I can actually see them better, because it's kind of irritating to not be able to tell the difference between the blank space and the actual stage itself. So let's expand this out and put some more off lights here. Put some more off lights there, and save that, and then we'll copy that. Actually, you can play it like this, and it will do its thing. So that's, you know, like you'd have to do a late on that for that to work, right? A late like this, and then we'll undo all that. Oh, come on. I undid it all. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, what on earth is it doing? Okay, so it's doing it for the last spot that I was at. PuzzleScript. Why do I have Z's over here? Oh, because I was trying to... yeah. It should... I'm trying to think of what I could even do, because if it can only literally affect one thing... Oh, that's not the right level. That is not the right level. And I'm putting all kinds of X's over here because I keep trying to do stuff over there while I'm still selected over here, apparently. Alright. Okay. Probably shouldn't have done this in PuzzleScript, but it seemed like a worthwhile try. That way I can do this and look at what the heck it does. Okay, well, it seems to at least be applying at the right time now, as far as painting that all in. But the thing that I don't understand is I should be able to do this. I should be able to say, if I have action here, then I should be able to put down where I'm at some kind of thing that applies the rules. So we'll just call it, I don't know, rule applier, which I haven't made yet. And then the next rule, because of the way it goes, it should loop through it. So if I go rule applier, is next to a light that's off. So actually I don't need this. We'll just say, if I do an action, it's going to set down this thing that maybe applies the rules, and maybe this works, but maybe not. I don't know. So then we'll go Yeah. I still don't think this is going to work because I can't think of how we do both of them without running into an infinite loop. Oh yeah, I got to make a rule applier. Can I do transparent? Yeah, okay. So I don't actually need that. And I have to put it on a layer. Okay. Okay. So that works for those. It just doesn't do the one I'm on, which is fine. I just can't think of how I do that, because then the next rule, right, would be if it was next to one that was on, right? Maybe what I need to do is I need to set down a thing that's going to switch on all of those tiles, and then those will just go through and switch. The switch is the hard part, though, because how do I not switch back? There's got to be a way to do that as far as this stuff. I feel like the rule group would work, but I don't know. Temp on, off to green to on. I don't green. What the heck does green have to do with anything? I mean, I appreciate the input because I'm kind of flailing here. I know even in here they did a thing with a temp where they're like, no, that would cause an infinite loop, so do a temp. Oh, okay, so like I would swap it to a temp on, and then I would swap to a temp off, and then I would do another pass where I turn the temp ons into ons and temp offs into offs. Okay, yeah. I see. So that should work. So we'll do that. Temp on, temp off, and then those can be transparent as well. That's fine. So this should potentially work. Because then if that's next to a light that's off, yeah, okay. Then we want to turn it into like a temp on. Yeah, okay, yeah, this will work. Because then this rule is not going to apply because the lights are on and they're not temp ons, and so then they should work. Temp off, and then we go back through on another pass and we say if there's any temp ons, then turn them into light ons, and then if there's any temp offs, then turn those into light offs. Oops, light offs. So that's going to swap. I still don't have the one underneath me, but that will be simple enough. The layers, always with the layers. Okay, most things you want layers because you want collisions and stuff, but in this case, I don't want collisions. I mean, maybe later, but I can't think of any reason that I want to. Temp. Oh, I typed temp on twice. Easy to do when there's really a lot of glare on your screen. Okay. Oops. Okay, so that should swap. Oh, what is it doing? Oh, I didn't clear the temp ons, did I? Well, what is it doing? What is it doing? Oh, I didn't clear the rule applier. I don't need the rule applier. I can get rid of the rule applier. No, actually, I do need the rule applier. We gotta get rid of it at the end. After the rules have been all applied, then it'll be fine. Then we can go like this. Where we go, rule applier. I keep wanting to put a space there. And then if that's on, a light on, then we'll just put a light off there. Yeah, that'll work. Oh no, we got to do the temp offs, temp ons. So I'm gonna have to put this earlier. That's fine. Temp on, and this will be a temp off, and then we will pull that up. Save and hopefully rebuild and run, and hey, look at that. Yeah, it seems to be working. Pretty much what I thought it would like. So let's see if I can do this one. This is a bit harder than some would be. It likes to cycle like this. That's probably just Linux being weird and how it handles key repeats, but anyway, so things like this, even this big, I start to think are like really too fiddly and irritating. So now the other thing I need to figure out, now that the basic rules are working, I need to figure out how to put the cursor down and also put the thing down, which I guess I could do with a temporary object that does both, but I think there's some way you can do it. So the documentation it's better than no documentation, but sometimes it's frustrating because the thing, like this, or there's a whole bunch of stuff in here that is helpful but was not there. So somewhere. Okay, so yeah, you do like this, where you do a different symbol that's both of them. So in that case, I need to do like, I'm trying to think of what to do. I think I'll do like this, where we'll do A is a player and a light on, and then B is a player and a light off. That's probably the best I could do. I could do something silly like I could do an I and an O. That might work actually better, because then I can at least tell that. I keep wanting to do that. I can't blame PuzzleScript for that. That's just like the internet in general is like terrible. And do you want to select everything on the whole page? No. Okay. Let's see. I don't even know whether like all this is super readable or what. But I'm just going to edit the levels down here rather than doing it with the level editor, because it's probably not necessary. So, like obviously the most basic level, which you can load levels by like clicking like this, the most basic level would be something like this, I guess. Which I don't know, I don't recall. Yeah, it should be solvable. Should be solvable. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so anyway. So yeah, now that I have the basics working, which took how long have I been stringing? Oh god, okay, so it took 50 minutes to get just the rules working, which I didn't think would take that long. But, so then that goes into actually designing puzzles, and what does that look like? Which basically it looks like what you just saw there, which is like, I think you could do this, so let's build a level that lets you do it. You know, and then figuring out whether you can solve it or not. You know, like when I start out, I'm building something and I don't know whether you could solve it. You know, like say I could pop up the level editor and say, well, it wouldn't really matter in this case because you can end up in all these states. Like you can end up, I think, in any state. Like let's well, yeah, you can end up in any state. So really it's just a matter of like what's the state that you want to start with, but you're kind of exploring around and trying different things, you know, when you build something out and saying, okay, what does this do? What does that do? And, you know, what are the ways you can solve it? Obviously, like there's two moves. That's like your minimal solution to solve this puzzle, right? Or you can do that one. So there's a few different solutions for some of these puzzles, but so then that's what you do, and you say, okay, well, we got that, that's cool, let's try another level. Let's try one that's like one more, and now it's got like that. I keep forgetting to put a cursor down. It would be nice if there was some way I could just automatically have the cursor, but, well, it's PuzzleScript, what are you going to do? The saving, okay. I want to say on Windows, actually, that worked. So then we got this, you know, so you're just, this is like what puzzle designing looks like. It's not hard, it's simple. It's just like, okay, let's try out some things and see what happens, and there's got to be some way to do this. Here we go. So there's the solution. And you're basically just seeing, okay, what's solvable. And usually the way I like to design this kind of puzzle game is to start with something that's super simple like that. Like, what's the most simple thing? Well, actually, the most simple thing would be like 2, right? But I think, I don't know, I think 2 is not solvable unless they're both the same. Like if I did this, oops, let me just pull up the level editor. Oh, I can't do that because I can't, it's irritating. I don't think you can like put things down. Anyway, so this I don't, like there's no way to solve it because you can only swap and they both change, so like you end up either one on the right is white and the one on the left is dark, and then, or the other way around. Like, that's what you end up with. And actually, now that I think about it, why did I do the cursor like this when I could have used like another color instead of this? Like, I could have done, I don't know, I could have done like red or something, and then just done red. You know, for some reason my brain was like, black and white, that's the only colors I have, it's the only thing I can work with, so that's what we'll do. Whereas if I did that, then I can get whatever. And not only that, but then I don't have to take up so many pixels with cursor. I can just do like the corners and be fine. Which, when you don't have that many pixels, you don't want to waste too many of them on stuff that's not necessary. See, because then I have a cursor there, and I can very easily see what's going on without having it obscured. I could also do something with a dot in the center. That might work. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that's not solvable. The only way that that would be solvable would be if I did like this. I keep wanting to do that. And then is that interesting? I don't know. Like, does it, like, you know, if you're a new player coming at this, you'd say, okay, well, I can move around, I don't know what's going on, and I press a button and I go to the next level. It's a question of whether or not there's something interesting about that. Maybe there is, maybe not. You know, in a way it's kind of interesting, but I feel like you would need to do, at the very least, you would have to do this to where you have another level. I gotta stop doing that. It's only my entire life that's trained me to save that way. You know, because then, well, that doesn't even work. Like, you can't even do one that's all white, because then you automatically win as soon as you move. Yeah. That's just how the win conditions get applied. Like, you have to do something before you can win. Like, you can't. So yeah, I don't think I really want to have that level, because there's nothing interesting really about that. So to me, the simplest level that has anything going on is this one. And you could have this level be this, and then you have a 1 in 3 chance of, well, not even that. You do have a 1 in 3 chance of winning, because you can, within one move, win. So you could do that. But really, I kind of try to go for my own design stuff for like the biggest bang for the buck. So if I'm gonna do one that's like this size, it's just 3 tiles, then I want to have the one that has like the most possibility, which, like, this is, you can do this or that, and none of those will get you to a solution immediately. But then within 2 moves you could solve or whatever, and then move on to the next one and kind of try to do what's most interesting there, if I can, you know, like what has the most possibility for interestingness. Like, if I start out like this, then, well, I don't know. So it's a question of, you know, what you want to start with. But yeah, so that's kind of the different approach there that I have, versus if you just went straight away and did like, okay, well, we're gonna do a lights out grid, which is like, you know, this big, and it's like, okay, like, we can fill this all in, right, and say, well, all right, and then play that, and then try to fill that up or whatever. And maybe that's interesting in a way, but it's also a lot more complex immediately than what I was doing. And so there's always a question there of how much complexity is even necessary to express the thing that you were trying to express, and whether or not you want to move to something that's like this much fiddling around at first. I mean, you can, that's fine. There's lots of puzzle games that do that kind of thing. It's just not necessarily the kind of thing that I'm that interested in, that like, let's make something where, you know, because once you get to this grid size, it's like, well, we could just totally randomize which ones are lit up, and then you could have how many ever puzzles, you know, mathematically I'm sure you could determine how many there are. And how interesting is that? Not necessarily that interesting. It ends up being that kind of puzzle game like Sudoku or something, where for the most part it's flat. There's not a progression over the course of playing the game, where things gradually get more complex, or ideas get introduced, or you learn things, or whatever. Anyway, so we only have a few levels here so far, so let's try out adding a third one, and we can try, since we've been doing this kind of off-on pattern, it seems like it might be cool to continue that, so we'll see what happens if we were to, come on now, there we go, if we were to continue that again for another one. Oh, I think it dropped the stream. It literally just told me that. It literally just told me that the stream, or that the internet dropped. Alright, so we'll stop that and restart it, because that's just how crummy their stuff is.